Why, hello there, my fellow bloom workers. Rodamont here. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story Primitive Survival. Episode 65, Early Autumn Iron Harvest. I just keep making mistakes. Monotony at its worst. It actually doesn't really bother me. It's a bit cathartic. It's like meditative to make chainmails. Also knowing like I don't have to make a ton of it, right? Chainmail has really, or at least iron chainmail has quite high durability, and it's not too difficult to repair. Meaning that once you have a full set of chainmail, you probably only will repair it like once or twice ever, unless you're well, actually, that's not exactly true, because next patch, we also getting dungeon overhauls, like proper procedurally generated dungeons. For those that don't know, and of course this is a little bit of a spoiler, in Vintage Story, in its current state right now, dungeons exist, but the big ones are not procedurally generated. They're based upon the story. They're story dungeons. And, procedurally generated dungeons is a feature that will be coming, which is neat. All right, so I got my chains. Before I do anything else, let's go ahead and get a don't really know what I want. Shovel head, maybe? How'd I do 9 material? That doesn't really make sense, but sure. Okay. All the material needed for a shovel has been added. Now I just need to make it shovel-shaped. And after this, maybe all the other, like, typical use tools as well. So, shovel, pick. Oh. Pro pick, hammer. Because the ingot's already hot. Actually, what are the temps? They are losing their workable temps, so I'm just gonna keep them warm with some peat until I'm ready to use them. And I did say that I wanted to use up my old tools before using new ones. I already have a spare pick, so I'm not too worried about that. This is almost not workable temp, but we'll keep going. So, next, hammerhead. And I'm just trying to get the materials and the total amount of materials added to this thing. And then I'll shape it after. Meaning it's going to be a mess. Alright, that's the material for the hammerhead. Maybe I'll just stop at the hammerhead. Well, I do want a pro pick. Because my current pro pick is not going to last very long. Oops. Alright. We got a spare hammer. Yeah, I'm gonna call that good for now. Sweet. The blooms do need to be worked. But before I do that, let's move our smoked meat and do some of the other, like, maintenance-y stuff. Okay, good. They fully smoked. We've got a lot of smoked meat. So probably don't need to worry about that for quite a while. The bloody offal's still cleaning. And the soaked hides. Oh, here we go. Sweet. So we got another batch of leather coming through. Good. Let's see. I've got most of the chainmail I need, but not all of it. So I want to process the blooms that we got going on right now for the remaining chainmail required, and then it will just be waiting on leather. Oh, I know all the beehives are ready to go. It's just I don't need the honey like I need the armor. So I'm just not prioritizing that. Kind of sounds like the wind might have calmed down, though. I'll hook up the Hellheimer and see if it's roaring or not. Yeah, it's been a while. These blooms are not particularly hot. So before I decide to heat them back up, I want to know if I have the mechanical power to actually accomplish that. It's not terrible, but it could be faster. So, in that regard, I might hang up the metalworking for the moment and wait for a faster wind opportunity to continue. You bet the chicks have hatched? I bet they haven't. I don't think it's been long enough. Three days, 4 days. They still have a little bit of grain left. Oh, but the chicks that we had are now Pull it, pull it. Pull it. 90% of the chickens in the game become hens, FYI. And then 10% become roosters. But roosters will fight each other, so you gotta be careful about having multiple roosters. They don't really get along. Okay, one thing I have not done in a while. That's not terrible wind, but yeah, I'm gonna wait. Is papyrus and bees. So let's tend to the bees, because I've actually not ever tried to use the papyrus farm yet. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to site the papyrus and then collect it afterwards, because you have to do a bit of swimming to collect it. But I like the design. I think there's still some flaws in it. I think it needs to be like one tile lower or whatever to make it for easy collection. But for something I like threw together, it's aesthetically pleasing. It also reminds me of like parsley or something, I don't know. So we'll harvest like 4 skeps. And that is yet another tool that's going to need to be replaced with a iron one sooner or later. I will say this was a lot more convenient to get 64 papyrus than we've gotten in the past. In the past, it's been a right nuisance. Oh, we've got a flax that is also maturing up to max. Good. Does papyrus need to be in water? It technically doesn't, but that's where I wanted it. I built it the way I wanted. It's not like a based on game mechanics. It's based on my own desire for aesthetic realism. All right, I need some red clay. Also, flower in less than a day. So some of the black currants have flowered. As you can see, the white parts of them are flowered, and they will be about a week until ripened. And then we can make juice, wine, something. I don't know. We'll do something. I was thinking of juicing them rather than eating them raw, so that we have mash to be able to feed the chickens as well. So I planted as many as I planted the papyrus, so that when they're ripe, I can do 4 skep harvest out of the 10 hives that we have. It's a reasonable amount of honey per harvest, I think. I could. Oh, and it looks like wind just picked back up. So as soon as I'm done with the skep harvest, I'll go back to forging the blooms, because that's pretty good wind. We're getting like night wind or something. Actually, what it should have done is kept a little bit of the clay to do a 5 skep harvest. Because I'm getting papyrus off for refunds. Or maybe even a 6 skep harvest. Man, they're really, they're persistent. I wonder if they can even get me in here. Technically, I have fences on them. I can't quite do a 6 skip harvest. Well, if I harvest... No, actually I can. Wait, oh no, I'm missing 1 papyrus. I will not be stopped by a single papyrus. There we go. I'll do a 5 skip harvest and then put an extra skip down. On one of the corner posts. So many angry bees. Ah, be blocked by a fence. Probably not gonna work. Yeah, I'll do that last. So, plan was to put another corner post skip. There we go. And then the last one is going to be like this one. Cool. So got a decent amount of honey. Do I have stacks of papyrus over here already? I might. No, I don't. Maybe it's in my farm box. Because if I can make other corner post skips, I will. Oh yeah, I do. Okay, cool. So let's make some other corner post skips right now. So they have something to expand into. Perfect. And I'll have to remember in the future I keep it in the farm box. Oh. I'm holding a spare? In that case... What material was those made out of? Was that kapok or walnut? I'll figure it out in a moment. Fabian, thank you for the resub. This was kapok. Dope! Dope! Damn you, fence! There we go. Dope! There we go. You can kind of see the design. It's a bit all over the place, but it'll work. Yeah, I'm bad at placing things down on a voxel system. Yeah, 5th time's the charm. At least I got it. It could be worse. So we need 5 more hours for the bloody awful. Then I can make a bunch of humble pie. That chest is not doing anything. We have a bunch of ripe flax, but I'm gonna wait until the whole row is ripe to do a big batch harvest. As far as leather goes, we got strong tannin, prepared hides, scraped hides. Yep, there's nothing to do with the leather. Although in 1.5 days, we'll have our first batch coming out of the line, ever since the barrels burnt down. So, before we lose this beautiful bounty of wind, let's go ahead and start making the remaining chain. I'll just put the honeycomb away for now. Or the... yeah, honeycomb. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, we are going to work more blooms. So in terms of what I'm missing, I have got... so the chess piece 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. And I've got enough for that, right? So if I'm separating these out, can I place these on the ground? Yes, but no. So let's do it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, how expensive carpets. 9, 10, 11. So that is for the cuirass, the chest piece. And then the pants, I have 2. So here is the leggings. So I need 4 more plates or 8 more ingots worth for the full chain set. So we're getting close. And laying it out like this, I don't know, it's weird, but it works. But given my high wind, I might process more than that. It really depends. Well, I can smell it. I can smell my leather. It smells awful, because, like, tanneries are some of the worst smell in the industrialized world imaginable. So I think, in order to meet goal, my plan is to make the chains as the highest priority, and then if there's leftover wind power after I process 7 blooms, I'll do more of them. Crafty, thank you for the cheer. Will they rust in the rain? They will not. So we need to do it until we have 8 ingots there. You know what surprised me is paper also smells god-awful. I don't know why I expected paper to smell good, but like paper mills are also some of the they're pretty rank, and that took me by surprise. Because like the smell of fresh paper ain't too bad, right? Like that's oh no, wind. Well, it seems like I get, like, my best wind at night. And then it just kind of dies back during the day. I'm gonna keep going. As long as the health hammer's moving, I can help it along with my own hammer. That's fine. I think that's a catbuck I planted. Yeah, they're starting to sprout up now. I'd mentioned before, but once they're mature, that's done. They're done growing. It's not like a fruit tree where there's phases. It's just like seed on the ground, sapling, seed on the ground, and then propagates, and the propagation to a mature tree and nothing in between. I low-key wonder why they like skip the rest of the phases. Maybe for like server calculation reasons? I don't really know. But if it's done intentionally, I would imagine it's for, like, server efficiency reasons. Have I considered adding more windmills? I could! So far, it hasn't really been a need. There hasn't been a high need for it, though. Because, wind is usually pretty decent in my neck of the woods. So we got half of the iron ingots needed for the remaining chains. And if I wanted to add more blades to it, I would need to completely rework the entire tower, because this entire tower isn't built for multiple blades. This entire tower works off of just one powertrain. So it would need to be redesigned with gears, and that becomes resource expensive pretty quickly, to the point where like it might not be worth it. It's also not a novel project. It's just like, do the same thing we've already done, but again. And I don't see a lot of value in something like that. With that said, we the bottleneck right now for processing these blooms is the heat. It's not actually the hammer. The hammer's moving fast enough that the forge can't keep up. Obviously, I could have another forge. God, there's a lot of slag. Oh, what the hell? This is the slaggiest iron I've ever seen. We were like slag 70 or something. Wood trees skip phases because they copied Minecraft. But fruit trees are from the Terra Firma Craft mod, which added stages. Yeah, but that, I mean, okay, that explains it, but Vintage Story obviously could just do its own thing, and I'm surprised they hadn't, I guess, is my larger point. Because they could have logical multi-phase tree stuff. I mean, I will say I don't really see value in that, I'll be honest, because it's not a really value to a player to see a tree grow slowly over time. Like, as far as the player is concerned, there's no need. It's just a visual thing. All right, just one more. I think this is the first time I've ever lacked the leather, not the iron, for armor. Almost always it's the inverse. Which this is kind of funny. And we have tons of iron bits. I guess I should start heating these up. Alright, current priority. Make the last chain needed for armor. I'm not planning on making another run for the bloomery, because I don't necessarily know I'm going to want iron next. I might want quartz or something, but I'll at least put the bloomeries back while I wait. It says much more about how much of a setback it was to have the barrel set fire than how much effort it is to get the iron chain. Yeah, well, like typically in Vintage Story, you end up with a lot of leather as a byproduct of just having to feed yourself, depending on what biome you live in, and of course. Which is to say, because I live in the tropics, I found it pretty easy to feed myself without having to do a lot of leather processing. And also, initially, I didn't have the butchery infrastructure to be able to get good leather. So I kind of avoided and relied on a lot of fishing weirs, which don't help your iron at all. Or your iron armor, I should say, by allowing you to have byproduct leather. Because fishing and leather are, you know, both fulfill protein, but one does nothing for your leather making. And because I didn't have the butchering table and relied on the fishing weirs, I lost out on like a week or two's worth of like hunting for meat. Which means, you know, the production of leather lagged behind a week or two, and this is essentially the logical consequence. That's done. Yeah, okay. I was gonna go. Like, why are you still hammering? This is the amount of wind I have right now is painful. Basically, this is like nearly plate making by hand. I don't want to stand on that. But I'm stubborn. I wanted to check it off my list of things to do. Also, at this heat, it totally looks like bronze. The offal's probably done. 'Tis done. Just making sure I didn't have any, So that's a lot of offal, and I'll put that to use for some, humble pies or something. Looking at my nutrition, probably the next thing I do is going to be, like, mushroom stews. In fact, I will set up I'll do a few heavy hits and set up the next plate, and then start working on a mushroom stew. Rather than to, like, stare at the health hammer do its thing. This plate is moments from being done. Oh, didn't die. Boop. Alright, let's get stewing. Because I don't have any more of the, like, charred pies left in my inventory. I've processed my shame. I do need more firewood, though. Oops. Looks like almost all my berry bushes have flowered. That's awesome. At this rate, I'm going to need to reheat the ingots. It's going so slow. And the plates, for that matter. Alright, can I help? I feel like the moment I walk over, like, wind speed just picks back up. It's like, no, I got this. What does it take to make wine? Oh, it's really easy. You take berries, you put them through a fruit press, and it would make sense for me to get a fruit press as a soon project. And then you put it in a barrel and that's it. Pretty much the same way I made the spelt ale here. This was just like ground up spelt, stick in a barrel for 2 weeks. So there's two types of brewing. There's like brewing and distilling. And the brewing here in the game is mostly just like you take stuff, stick in barrel, wait, and then done. But distilling is a different, separate process for higher proof alcohols, and that requires you to have a still. And all of the alcohol in the game can be distilled, I think. There might be an exception to that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So, like, you can take, here, let me unpause the game. You can take wine, which is made by throwing it in a barrel and waiting, and then put it through, a still to make, like, you know, distills into cranberry brandy. And then cranberry brandy can go through a distillery again for aquavitae, which is like a medical alcohol. So you take blueberry wine, blueberries in a barrel make blueberry wine, and then, or blueberry juice in a barrel makes blueberry wine, and then blueberry wine distills into blueberry brandy. And all of the juices are like that. Currants, Seguro, pineapple, so on and so forth. Then for things like mead, or ale, spelt ale is water and spelt in a barrel, and then you can distill that into spelt whiskey. Same with rye, amaranth, cassava, breadfruit. And then mead is honey in a barrel, makes mead, and then mead distills into distilled mead. And the distilled mead, if you want, can distill into aquavitae as well. So it's like barrel, distillery, distiller again for aquavitae, if you picture it like that. Good news, we are just about done. The last plate is almost done being made. Yep, it just finished. So now, just heat them up, punch the holes, and we're good. So I would... Oops. One of the... Oh, that one's really hard to correct. I'll just fix it like that. Rather than messing with it, I'll just stick one of the cleaved nuggets back on it. Alright. So maybe at some point we'll make like a proper brewery, because I don't want to just like brew in my kitchen. I'd imagine like actual brewers would be appalled by the unsanitary conditions in my kitchen, given that it's made of dirt, and I regularly run a smoker in there, which can't be good for the taste of anything you make. This is, of course, role-playing. The game doesn't care. You can, you know, run a distillery wherever you want. But that could be a future project. And most of what a still would require would be copper for the plates, and then a little bit of solder. And I think solder is probably the only hard thing to obtain, because I kind of used up a lot of the leather, or the lead that I had. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story Primitive Survival, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Seraphs.